Hello everybody, once again, and welcome back to another episode of RT Talk. This week got a few topics to actually go through, and some of them are a lot faster than others, so it'll be sort of quick mentions and then kind of moving on. But on this week's episode, we're going to talk about the return of in-person events such as RTX and AH Live. We're going to talk about Extra Life because that was last weekend, so we're going to just go over it kind of briefly and give some thoughts on the weekend, or I guess it wasn't weekend, but Saturday event. We're going to talk about an update to VRV and Rooster Teeth's status with them. We're going to talk about I wouldn't call it a controversy, but there was a little bit of hubbub in the community about some Genlock content. And then we're going to mention just two quick things about Matt and then on Jeremy. Two separate things, but they're both very quick. So, first off, and I would normally start off with I am starting off with RTX. I would normally start off with Extra Life, but I kind of want to talk more about a secondary part of Extra Life. So I figured this was just how it started with talking about the live event stuff. So they announced on, I think maybe just a few days after Extra Life wrapped up, that AH Live is like coming back. It is actually going to happen this year, or I guess next year technically. But for anyone who maybe doesn't remember or didn't know, AH Live was rescheduled, I believe, twice, maybe three times, because of COVID and everything. I believe they did one tour in 2019. 2020 came along. They had their dates set for, I want to say, maybe March, April, or like June time, somewhere in there, somewhere in May. And then all the COVID stuff happened, and they canceled those shows. I think they rescheduled it and pushed it out till maybe August or something, and then it got pushed again to like November, and then they just got canceled. And then now they're actually returning back to the tour, and is basically set up the exact same way as it was the previous times. There's three shows in Seattle. Or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that because that could sound misleading. There are three different shows. One is in Seattle, one is in San Francisco, and one is in Los Angeles. I want to make sure that it didn't sound like I was saying there was three shows in Seattle alone. So those are happening March 31st in Seattle, April 2nd in San Francisco, and April 3rd in Los Angeles. Now, I didn't see, because they have a little link about the safety info and what their requirements are going to be. I clicked on the link, it just took me to this page that you're seeing on screen, or just saw on screen. And so I didn't see what the actual requirements are. I would assume that it's probably going to be required vaccination and maybe a negative test possibly. I don't know. But now that the vaccine is out there and there is more safety and more layers of safety involved with having events, that they have, I guess, decided now is a good enough time to finally get back into doing their live content. And they're starting with AH Live. On the banner, it is Jack, Michael, Lindsay, Trevor, Kai, and Alfredo. I don't know if that is the lineup for the live show or if they're just using that as the banner, and maybe other people will be there as well. Only time will tell with that one, but I'm happy to see them getting back into form and do these live events. I mentioned RTX as a part of this too because there wasn't an official announcement about RTX. However, I kind of read between the lines a little bit on this one, or maybe just read the lines. But during Extra Life, they were talking about the poster. They always do an exclusive poster for Extra Life every year. And on this one, it was this. It looked very Tetris-like. I didn't hear any of the backstory about it. Usually they talk about the design of it in some way. I didn't hear that one for this year's Extra Life, but it has like a very Tetris look to it, and it has like a bunch of Easter eggs and stuff on the side, and apparently it's a real like diorama type thing that they made. And the only thing that was fake in the poster was, I believe he said the sky. So, but what they said and how this relates to RTX is, if you are attending RTX this year, then you maybe see this in person. So to me, obviously that says, oh, they're planning on RTX being in person this year. Now with the announcement of AH Live, it seems like that this will be the year that RTX finally returns to be an in-person event, and getting back to some level of normalcy, basically. I would assume again that there would be some sort of requirements on that type of event as well. But they have not made any kind of official announcement for it, so it's kind of pointless to speculate and go deep into coulda, woulda, shoulda type stuff. Although I guess that's more about regrets, not the possible. I guess possibly, or I don't know. I don't have any other words that are kind of like possibly on the top of my head. But I'm happy to see that they're doing the live event stuff again, getting back into, like I said, back into the swing of normalcy. So I feel much better, much more confident that these will stay and they'll follow through on these and won't have to cancel the way they did last time. I mean, for anyone who lives in the States and I don't know, even for me or someone who doesn't actually watch football or anything, I still am exposed to it a lot, especially because everyone around me watches football. So there have been tons and tons of live events with hundreds of thousands of people in different stadiums and different sporting events across the states. So I can only guess that that probably gives them a lot of confidence in keeping this thing afloat and on kind of on track for being what am I trying to say? Keep them on track for actually this one happening and not having to cancel it. So yeah, look forward to that. I don't know. I didn't hear anything or see anything about the refund or if you had bought tickets for the previous ones. I know that they were doing some sort of refund or kind of credit towards the next event if you bought tickets, say, back more than a year ago. But I haven't heard anything about that yet. I'm assuming that'll probably come up. I mean, like I said, the earliest show is March 31st. We're a little ways out from that, but I'm guessing there'll be more announcements and kind of updates for that type of stuff. So stay tuned. Keep your Twitter feed open and stuff like that. So we can move on straight into the Extra Life stuff. Now, like I said, I kind of had more side stuff I want to talk about with Extra Life than the actual event itself. I do want to mention really quickly that I was kind of looking for it too. I didn't see like a final tally of all of the like their total donation. Now, I don't know if it takes a while for them to tally up all of the merch sales or if it's because they run the donations further out than the actual event takes place. So, for instance, 10 p.m. on last Saturday was the end of the Extra Life event, but they were saying that they were still going to have their posters and different Extra Life merch in the store for amount of time, and all that would also count towards their donation. So the one that I found was that they raised over $900,000, which is still, that's an insane amount. They only did a 12-hour stream this year. They didn't do the 24-hour one. It sounds like they're kind of planning on next year being a 24-hour one, or at least, I guess the safest way to put it would be they're working towards having a 24-hour stream next year. I didn't realize that the 12-hour stream was, like a safety thing that they were worried about or something, because now it just seems, based on the way I've seen people talk about it, it seems like it wasn't possible to do this year, and maybe next year once COVID is kind of calmed down more or possibly calmed down more, then they could do a 24-hour one next year. And I'm sure there's someone that's probably maybe listening to this or watching this that knows more about the 12-hour versus 24-hour difference and why everything went down. I'm kind of piecing together this point of view from kind of a little bit here, a little bit here, or a little bit here, a little bit there is what I meant to say, of information that I was kind of hearing. So, so hopefully they can go back to the 24-hour kind of format. I know that's obviously a much more brutal way to run their stream, but there's just something about those 24-hour streams that I don't know if it's nostalgia or what it is, but I always liked the fact that they were just going the whole time. And like I said, I know that's signing them up for a lot, but it's also the format that they kind of created for their show. They obviously didn't create the 24-hour stream, but for the Extra Life stream, it was kind of a staple of the event. So $900,000 in 12 hours is a lot. I never remember. I don't even know if it's easily available, but I don't remember what they raised the year before or to compare it to anything. I would be very interested to see how it compares to years before. I want to say last year it was like 1.1 million, if I remember correctly, from the video that we made around that time. So this is just, I say just slightly less. It's right now it's $200,000 less than that, and that's a lot of money. But I still $900,000 in 12 hours is a lot of money raised, and they showed off the hospital and stuff, and kind of what their money's been going towards. I unfortunately wasn't able to watch a lot of the Extra Life stream. We saw, I think it was actually like almost the very beginning. I think we turned it on at like at 10:30 in the morning, and then I think it was an hour and a half that we watched maybe, and then we had just a family event that we had to go to. So then we were gone for most of the day, and we came back. I mean, we turned on the stream at 10:30 in the morning to watch or not to watch them, but it just so happened that was like the Achievement Hunter hour or whatever in the morning. That ended, and we left during the Chef Mike and Lindsay like cook-off that they do. When we came back home, we came back and turned it on the second Achievement Hunter came back. So we accidentally, without even knowing the schedule, I didn't even look at it, just watch Achievement Hunter for Extra Life. So we tuned it in right as Gavin and Michael came out and all the shenanigans that happened. And I mean those two are worth like $250,000 just for showing up. I mean, it's just the whole screen, like the whole donation thing explodes as soon as they're on screen, and it just really shows you the power of the I don't want to say like the main talent, because that's like almost like an insulting way to put it, but you figure Gavin and Michael are one of the, especially for Achievement Hunter, they're like the classic ones. It's like they're part of the crew that everyone thinks of when they think of Achievement Hunter. So it's like you see the power that just those types of characters have. And any of the OG Rooster Teeth people, like the Gus's, the Jeffs, the people who are no longer there, like Bernie, like those types are have so much kind of power in the community, and obviously the Achievement Hunter crew as well as has that type of power. So I mean, Jack's on stream like the entire time, but the Jeffs and Gavins and Michaels, and plus people know when Gavin and Michael are about to or not about to, but when they show up on stream, things are about to get crazy. So still, it's very awesome to see that the fact that they just show up and a ton of money just pours in, and it all goes towards a good cause. And who can have any problem with that? So the side thing I was going to talk about, which I thought was weird last year and this year, is that they chose to sort of not advertise Extra Life again. I remember I think we talked about it last year whenever Extra Life happened, but I don't remember if we knew the reason at that time. What I heard this year, or maybe it was this year beforehand, is that I guess they didn't want to advertise, I guess 1-2 is a bad way to put it, but they didn't advertise Extra Life because they just feel it's a mainstay of what they do, like RTX, so that it just didn't feel like they had to advertise it or push it that it was happening or anything, which I kind of understand what the point they're making is like, this is just something we do every year, so we shouldn't have to put out there that things are, or that we're doing this event again to raise money, like that we do this every single year, so people know. But I do think it's a bad idea to not advertise it, and I don't know, I'm kind of confused on how that's kind of slips through the cracks in how advertising this giant event that they do every single year that raises a lot of money for a good cause would just be kind of almost like, oh, it's fine as it is, and people will show up when they show up. And I don't know whose decision that was ultimately or anything, but it just seemed odd to me, because I mean, to just assume that people know exactly when Extra Life is every year and to remember it. I mean, I remembered it was Extra Life, I think the week of, possibly. I was like, oh, that's this Saturday. I saw someone mention something Extra Life related. I was like, oh, that's this weekend. Like, wasn't even thinking about it, or I knew it was like we're close to the time of the year, but I was like, I wasn't paying that much attention to like when every Extra Life has happened every other year to know, oh, this is the time. So I just feel like, people forget. You have new people coming in. You don't know everyone who know, like, you don't know the base of information that everyone's dealing with who's going to be watching Extra Life or anything. So it just seems like if this, it's a big event, so maybe we go through and make some ads or talk about it in a lot of videos and build up to the fact that this is the event going down. We're raising money for a good cause, just to either remind people or inform people, or for whatever the reason. I feel like that would have. I feel like that's. I think that's a mistake to not advertise it. I just think there would be some benefit to talking about it, and it goes back to the kind of classic way that Rooster Teeth was run, where their podcast was their ad for all the shows that they were doing, and you could listen to the old Drunk Tanks or RT podcast, and then you would just hear about all the things going on that were, the new season of Red vs. Blue is happening, Immersion's going on, Achievement Hunter did this funny video, you just found out all that kind of stuff. So I think it would have been a very easy thing to do, to just throw it in there for a few videos or talk about it, and maybe make one of their, like pre-roll ads or something, or one of their mid-roll ads or whatever, talking about Extra Life. I don't know, because even for someone like me who's, I do this podcast every 2 weeks, and I go through and I look up all, what's going on in the company and things that have happened. And, it's not that I didn't hear anything about Extra Life at all, but it just didn't feel like there was a big push for it or anything. So it just, like I said, it kind of slipped through like my mind, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's in like 4 days or whatever it was. So going forward, I wish they would kind of push it a little bit more. The last few things are pretty quick, so they won't not gonna take me that much time to get through these. So if anyone uses VRV or watched Rooster Teeth content on VRV, apparently an email went out that told everyone that VRV was no longer going to be have Rooster Teeth content on it. So the email read, as was posted on the subreddit: "We have some sad news to share. Unfortunately, Rooster Teeth will no longer be a channel on VRV after December 13th, 2021. But don't fret, because all the Rooster Teeth shows you know and love are available on the Rooster Teeth standalone streaming service. While this channel will no longer exist on VRV, you can still enjoy a selection of free content on the other media channels on our platform, including Crunchyroll and Mondo." Now, I didn't see if there was any description or explanation as to why this was the case. I was looking around for it, but I just didn't see anything in reading comments, or because there was a few people that posted about this, so I didn't see anything about it. I've never used. I shouldn't say that. I have used VRV. I think I used it to watch. I used to watch some anime. I don't remember which one it was, but I never have used it, so I don't even know what sort of the perks or benefits of, or Berks if you want, of using it are versus watching it on the site or YouTube or wherever else people are watching their content. I know the only thing I really know about VRV is that the subreddit is a kind of a big spot. Like, people almost use a subreddit like it's customer service a little bit. Like, I didn't get my order, this happened or whatever. And it was pretty consistently people complaining about VRV not working right, or things, a video wouldn't be uploaded to VRV or whatever. And maybe that's what finally did it, is that Rooster Teeth was having a bunch of problems with them, and they cut it. There's so many possibilities of what it could be. They're owned by, Warner Media with and HBO and stuff, and maybe they're trying to get their content off of competitors' services just so they have more exclusive rights to it. I mean, that's a big thing in the media space with, you see things like The Office going to Peacock as opposed to staying on Netflix, things like that. So, I mean, who knows? I feel like there's 1,000, maybe VRV is going down. Like, who knows? There's so many reasons it could be, but if that is the platform that you chose or choose to watch things on, then you have until December 13th to kind of settle in and figure out where you will be homed from now on. So, the next thing it's also kind of a quick one. Because it's, like I said, it's kind of a little bit of a controversy, sort of, but not really. There was someone who made a post, and it won't be on screen or anything because it was really long, and I'm not going to read through the whole thing. But to kind of surmise what the post said, was they were talking about how Genlock reaction videos, it seemed like it was specifically the reaction videos, which I assume would just anything that was playing Genlock on screen or like episodes, reaction videos were being taken down off of YouTube. They were getting actually content strikes. Now, some of the people that, like, they referenced a bunch of people who have made videos and had their videos taken down. They talk about how some of them were like 3 years old, and then out of nowhere they were getting these videos like as a copyright claim type thing, and they were just talking like what changed, and they wish there was a heads up. Like they, I know the reaction world is pretty kind of, you're kind of riding that line a little bit because you're using other people's, you're making your content, and some people making their living off of essentially other people's content. I mean, not everyone just tunes in to see just whoever reacts. Like there is a personality aspect to it, but let's be honest, like that's a field of, or a genre of YouTube and content creation that relies entirely off of someone else's work. So it is kind of something, you're always riding that line. You never know what's going to get taken out, what's not. And so I think the main point of the person's post was just saying, like, it'd been, it would be nice if they got like a heads up or something, because they've been making these videos for years. So, and then just before I even got started here, I noticed that, and I don't know why this didn't show up the other day whenever I was reading this, because I was just going through like chronologically of like different posts and everything, and this was apparently posted 2 days ago, but I didn't see it. But Chelsea, who is I think she's the community manager. I always forget titles and everything. But she made a short post that just said, I wanted to provide a brief update about Genlock reaction videos that have affected some of you in our reactor community. We recognize that some videos have been taken down and copyright strikes have been issued, some on videos that are years old. Like you, we were caught by surprise when this occurred. But it was something that we should have expected. When the rights for Genlock changed hands to HBO Max, our policies would no longer apply. We are sorry that we did not catch this before it became an issue for many of you. We love to see your videos and continue to want to see them. We want to do anything we can to encourage you to create content around Genlock. To that end, if any of you are having issues with your reaction videos, please email us and we'll see what we can do to help you individually. And then they email us and then fanprojects@roosterteeth.com. So it pretty much was, I mean, the explanation made sense to me. It got handed off to HBO Max, so that means there's a new person or new company helming the ship, and they're making different decisions. Obviously, when that whole thing goes down, I don't think their first, second, third, or fourth thought was even, oh, we should probably put this out there so people who make reaction videos know about it. So I think they, it's an easy thing to slip their minds. I don't think there's any type of, I don't see any kind of like malicious angle on this where they're just maybe like they had the information but they weren't putting it out there, or because people always want to read into and come up with their theories. To me, this makes perfect sense on what she's saying. I have no reason to doubt on any level. So it just sounds like if you're making a reaction video out there that you probably need to be careful and take some extra steps to make sure you're not just directly, I guess, ripping the episodes and everything. And yeah, I don't know what else I don't really know what to say about that one, because like I said, it's sort of this was a problem and then it got kind of solved. So, I guess it's not really solved because the people who make those videos still their videos taken down. But I mean, at least they know where they stand, and the fact that HBO Max is now in charge of it. I mean, what can Rooster Teeth really do? It's not their property anymore, I guess. I mean, who knows what? So when the rights for Genlock, so I assume Rooster Teeth's kind of just gonna be like the studio who's animated and everything, and now they're out of it completely. So we can go through the last two things really quickly. One being a just random ad that I was not I was watching a video not related to Achievement Hunter at all, and the ad popped up, and it was Robbie Amell, who I know because of Stephen Amell, because I used to watch Arrow, and I think it's his brother or his cousin. I forget how they're like related, and he's in the new Resident Evil movie, and the ad starts off and he just says, and I'm joined today by Matt Bragg, and I don't even think he says, maybe he says from Rooster Teeth, I don't even remember now, but he just says Matt Bragg, and then it's just him and Matt just talking about the Resident Evil, I said Rooster Teeth movie, the Resident Evil movie, and I was completely caught off guard, and I was just like blown away, and then I was trying to pull up other videos so that that ad would pop up again, so I could show Renee and my wife now, and I have not seen it since. I saw it one time, and then through the subreddit, someone linked to a Twitter like clip of it, or not clip, but the actual video. But still, I was just completely caught off guard by that, and Yeah, I just thought it was really funny, and it's just one of those things that I bring up every now and then whenever you see like Rooster Teeth / Achievement Hunter or anyone that's involved in the umbrella of Rooster Teeth when they show up on a much bigger type of entity and platform. And obviously it's not that crazy or uncommon anymore, but still, it still has a special, still hits like a certain note for me. It's like, oh, that's really cool that he was in that, or so and so was in this, or whatever. And then the very last thing we'll talk about, and it's not even really much to really say, but it's just a nice feel-good story to end things on, because, I don't know there's a bad time ever for feel-good stories. If you remember, or if maybe you're hearing about this for the first time, 6 months ago, Jeremy's cat, Scooter, who if you watch his streams or if you've been a fan of Achievement Hunter for a long time, then you've probably heard him talk about his different cats. He has Scooter. Well, they have 5 now. Or, I think they have 5 now. I think they had 4. And now that, with this news, I think they have 5 again. Anyway, I'm trying to figure things out on the fly here. It's not working well. But, Scooter got out of the house, and then there was a long kind of saga of them searching for Scooter, and there was like these updates and everything else. And I know Jeremy's kind of like half out of Achievement Hunter now, but in these are the type of stories I don't always cover, but this one just felt, since I mentioned it, I feel like this is a nice conclusion, and I should at least bring this part of it up. So the quick synopsis, like I said, got out, and then there's these updates on Twitter. It was a whole thing. It went on for a couple weeks, I believe, and then it was kind of just like, based on like the things he was saying, that they kind of accepted that Scooter was gone. Like he was either he would never see him again, or maybe he died or something. Out of nowhere, he made a tweet, and it just says, "Over 6 months ago, I had the most nightmarish night of my life when Scooter went missing. Today, that nightmare is finally over. Welcome home, Scooter." And they got him back, and apparently Bernie helped him by suggesting some type of service that Bernie used whenever Joe the cat, I guess, got out, or I think it was Joe the cat, but one of his cats, and Jeremy like signed up for that, and it led to them finding Scooter, and they brought him home. Crazy that could even be a possibility, really. I mean, I've had 2 animals run away, and one was found and returned, I think maybe a week or 2 weeks afterward, and the other one we never unfortunately found. So it's like I said, it's a nice feel-good story to kind of end everything on. I know it doesn't fully fit into the Rooster Teeth news necessarily, but I mean, come on, that's pretty awesome. They got him back. So that'll be it. That'll be the end of this episode. Thank you everybody for watching and listening, as you always do. Thank you for the few people out there who were congratulating me on getting married. I appreciate that very much. Doug and I talked about it deeply on Out in the Grapes on our first one back. So if anyone wants to hear that, you can go find that, and it's on Spotify and everywhere else that this podcast is available. But that is all, and hopefully we'll have Out in the Grapes coming to YouTube pretty soon. I kind of got in over my head on this week's episode. I was going to put it up, but things kind of went south on me. But so hopefully there'll be more content coming to the page, but if not, then I will be back in 2 weeks to talk about what's going on with Rooster Teeth. So thank you, everybody, and goodbye.